Welcome to Kiloton. This is my little developer voiceover. We're going to go through a little bit of the interface here. We're going to go into tutorial 1 and then air defense and then one of the more diplomatic scenarios just to give you a taste for what the game has to offer. First tutorial is explaining most basic aspects, and that starts with the population simulation. So your population drives your economy. Your population is determined by these cities, which grow and shrink, and they can be bombed, they can be captured. It's a very fluid, deep simulation compared to the rest of the game, at least. And that's because I wanted the people, the civilian aspect, to never be that far away. Even if you're in the middle of a nuclear war or an army or whatever, some kind of conflict, it's always focused around the cities. The civilian centers are the heart and soul of the game. I didn't want it to be just an abstract war game. I wanted it to feel like there's consequences and stakes, and the way I do that is through the population simulation. Even if you're just thinking militarily, you're just thinking strategically, you're thinking about civilian things. You're thinking about capturing cities where people are living, or if you want to destroy an enemy economy, you have to bomb city centers. So it always comes back to that population simulation, which is just a cellular automata structure running 10 times a second, and that interacts with the bomb craters and the armies capturing. It's a fairly robust series of compute buffers that are running behind the scenes to make sure that that's fluid. And as we invade here, we ask the player to immediately hit civilian targets, and they always comply. And the border's going to start shifting forward, as you can see, as our armies push forward through the remnants of the craters of Yellow's old cities. And we just captured the last 3 or 4 with our armies. All of this happens procedurally. The armies move themselves. That's not required of the player. All that's required of the player are these high-level decisions, no micro. But we're going to move into the second tutorial here once we finish this off. Okay, yep, scenario is over, and we move on to the next one, which is air defense, which goes over a little bit of research, a little bit of conscription, and mostly the idea of mutually assured destruction, which is that this enemy over here has a lot of nuclear weapons. They've got bombers, they've got silos. And if they had attacked us, or if we attacked them, we would lose, because they would bomb all of our cities and troops. And one thing we could do is build our own silos and bombers, and then we would both lose if they attacked. But we want to attack them, and so the way we do that is by building defenses, actually. We build very technologically advanced air defenses, which are capable of shooting down their missiles, stationing them on the front line, and then we're able to push in. And so I just wanted to feature this because it's a really interesting idea in mutually assured destruction doctrine, which is that defenses are destabilizing. The most stable situation would be everybody to have 1 million nuclear weapons, and that way nobody would ever attack. But here we are attacking because we built some ABMs. So I thought that was cool. This scenario is also just trying to teach them about conscription. You need to conscript a very large army and maintain that large army. What's going to happen here is that when we start invading, thousands of our soldiers are going to die, to bombers, to nuclear strikes, to everything. We're going to shoot down most of the missiles, but we're just going to lose a lot of troops. They've got home turf advantage, they're much closer to their own cities, so we're going to get kind of slaughtered, as you can see. And so the solution is really mass conscription, really just drive your economy into the ground. But this scenario is a 1v1, so we're going to move on to a more diplomatically complex scenario. Okay, so now we have here a free-for-all scenario, where we're the red country, we're the largest country, and what we're going to find here is that this doesn't quite play out like the 1v1s. A lot of these more larger nation count scenarios are deeply political, they're deeply diplomatic. Right now you can see that 2 countries are at war, but the rest of the world kind of picks a side, one or the other. And in this case, both of the other major powers, blue and yellow, picked the same side. They both picked to back purple, and that's bad for me, because now what I'm considering doing is sending money and aid to teal and then invading blue. And I end up just invading blue. But that was the wrong move, because now everybody's sending aid to blue, and I'm in this proxy war with yellow and purple, and it's just not going to go well for me. My economy's going to go into the ground. They're going to be able to build air defenses and bombers, and I'm not going to be able to make any headway. And so a lot of the gameplay in Kiloton, in the later scenarios, is political gameplay. It's diplomatic gameplay. It's not just massing armies. It's much more about picking friends, picking enemies, and trying to do that wisely. And that's probably best shown in the online multiplayer, because then you get to convince your friends or spin things. Oh no, I'm not building this to attack you. I'm building this to attack Fred or whoever. And it's a very different kind of game than the 1v1s, where it's a kind of hostile, isolating, helpless situation. The diplomatic side of the game, I think, brings out a lot of flavor, a lot of fun. It took a lot of design work to make it feel fair and fluid, but I think it works. A lot of people's favorite part of the game is the multiplayer, and I think that's reflective of both the enemy AI and the multiplayer bots, and the structure and the unfairness implicit in the situations that makes teamwork required. A lot of times you spawn as a smaller nation, and that creates a really interesting dynamic where you kind of are picking a sponsor. You need to have someone have your back, and you're essentially volunteering to fight their proxy wars for them. But it's the only way you can stay alive. And that happens with the AI as well. They have a fairly robust personality system that is based off of a little bit of an underlying unpredictability, but they behave logically enough. It's an interesting line between logical and unpredictable that you need to walk in order for them to be scary. You can never really metagame them. They sometimes just betray you. And I think that's an important feature in having a Cold War environment, is paranoia of betrayal. Except it isn't always paranoid. I guess it's not paranoid if it's true, and it does happen a lot where the AI will just decide, hey, you know what? Their back's turned. They don't have enough air defenses. Let's just do it. Let's just bomb them. And that fear is always in the back of your mind when you're playing these scenarios, and I love that. But I think my time is running low here. I hope you've enjoyed, or at least tolerated. But yeah, have fun.